What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video and to the channel. So for this video, I am pretty excited because we're going to be getting Apple CarPlay for my BMW F30 finally, and I'm going to be getting Apple CarPlay by installing a new module that will work with the original head unit in the car currently from factory. And not only does it have Apple CarPlay, it also has Android Auto for those of you who have an Android. And of course, I'm going to be showing you guys how to install it. And most importantly, these new modules that allow for the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are soon to be available on inline6auto.com for those of you who are interested. It may already be out by the time I release this video, so definitely check the description for a link to these if you guys want to get this functionality for yourselves in your F30 or any BMW with the NBT iDrive system, which I'll go into more detail later in the video. But anyway, without wasting any more time here, let's jump right into it. So here I have the whole kit that will allow for the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Here we have the main module that has the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto function, and then the additional wiring that I'm going to need to install to get the functionality from here into the car with the original head unit and to the screen with these wires here. And then here I have the Wi-Fi antenna so that you can connect your phone to the Apple CarPlay. There won't be any coding necessary to get the Apple CarPlay functionality working properly. As soon as we connect all of this stuff into the car with the original head unit, it'll work right off the bat. There isn't any extra steps or anything involving, coding or anything like that. It'll work as soon as we connect everything, and I'll show you guys that once I get to that point. It even allows you to use the original knob right there to scroll through the Apple CarPlay screen once it shows up on the screen up there. And you can even use the dial right there on the steering wheel to scroll through it also if you'd like. So yeah, this kit makes it very easy to install and get Apple CarPlay onto your BMW. Now, as far as compatibility, this specific module is for any BMW models with the NBT iDrive system. So let me show you guys real quick here. So this is what the NBT iDrive system looks like. This NBT system was featured in BMW models from like 2013 to like maybe 2018 before they started doing the next generation iDrive system, which is the Evo. For example, mine is a 2014 335i and F30, and it has the NBT system. So if you have this exact same iDrive system, it looks just like this, then you have the NBT system. Now, one thing to note is that I have the bigger screen. I know some models, like the lower spec models of the F30 and like other BMW models, came with a smaller screen, and I have the big one. But this module is also compatible with the smaller screen, and I'll show you guys how to adjust like how that looks if you have the smaller screen, since I have the bigger screen. But yeah, this module is compatible if you have the smaller screen also, so I just wanted to make note of that. Alright, so now that I've explained all the details regarding the compatibility and everything like that, if I missed anything, obviously just comment down below if you have any questions, if there's something that I missed. So now let's go ahead and begin the install. So the first thing I did here was disconnect the battery on the negative terminal. This eliminates the chance of there being any electrical issues from, disconnecting a bunch of wires, which is what we're gonna have to do to install this. So it's just added precaution just so nothing goes wrong. So the first thing I'm going to do here is remove this dash piece here by using a pry tool. So now that I got the dash piece off, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect these two electrical plugs here. One here and then one down here. There we go. Next, I'm going to pry this bottom piece off here that's below the AC climate controls. It's right here. You might just be able to pry it off with your hands. Just like that. Go. Next, I'm going to remove the 4 screws that are holding in the climate control piece here. 2 on the bottom and then 2 on the top. All 4 of the screws are going to be a T20 Torx. Take this off. Go let this hang down here, like that. Now this right here is the head unit. This is what we're going to need to take out. It's held on by 4 more T20 Torx screws. Some BMW models may have a smaller head unit that's not as big as this one. So don't worry if yours doesn't look exactly like mine. It is still the head unit and it still needs to come out. So go ahead and remove these screws. So now that those are off, you can pull out the head unit like this. Go ahead and rest it on cloth here so we can scratch the surface. Next, I'm going to go ahead and remove the screen. It's held in by 2 more T20 Torx screws that are underneath here. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this plug here. There we go. Now I'm going to pull this wire back down through here. There we go. Alright, so now that everything is disconnected, we can begin installing the module with the Carplay. So the first thing I'm going to do here is disconnect the main power connection, which is this giant plug right here with most of the wires. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze the sides together. It should just lift up and unlock like that. Just lift up and it should just push itself out like that. And just pull it out. There we go, just like that. Now this next step depends on if you have these 2 green wires here that are in the corner of the connection, right here in the corner, these 2. One of them is green and the other one is green, but this one has a plastic casing around it, but it's green underneath. So if you have these, you're gonna need to remove these, take these out of this connection piece here, and put them into the new wiring connection that came with the unit. So into this connection piece here, we're gonna have to transfer those 2 green wires and connect it into here, into these 2 holes that look exactly the same as this connection plug here. So to do that, just simply unlock it. On top there's a little clip right here that you need to unhook, and you unhook it by pressing from underneath. So I have a little pick tool here and just push it from underneath like that, so until it unlocks from the hook. And then once you unhook it, it'll be able to come out like that. And then once you have it disconnected from the connector, you're going to want to separate it from the rest of these wires here that go into the plug. You want to separate it, and they're held together by some tape here, so just go ahead and undo that tape like this. But once you have it out like this, you're going to take the new connector here that comes with the kit and install it in the same exact spot. So we go like this, plug it in, press down, and it'll click in place like that. Now we're going to take this same plug and plug it into the head unit. Lock it in place, like that. Now we're going to take the other end, this piece, and plug it into the other plug that was plugged in directly into the head unit, and plug it into this second connection here. Just like that. And lock it together. Here we go. Now we're going to take the other end of this same wiring harness. We're going to take the other end, this gray plug here, and plug it directly into the module, into this socket here that's also gray. So we'll go ahead and plug this together like that. There we go. Next, I'm gonna take this cable here. This is the LVDS in. It says right there on the tag, LVDS in. So we're gonna take this end here, this turquoise end, and plug it into this plug here. Now this plug here was connected into the screen, but it's gonna go into this separate cable here. So we're gonna connect those together like that. And then we're gonna connect the other end, the white end here, into the module here, this white socket there. Just like that. We're gonna take the other cable that's labeled LVDS out on the tag here. This purple violet plug connection here is going to plug into the corresponding socket here on the module. Plug those together like that. And now this last plug here, this turquoise one, is going to plug into the screen, into this connection there, right there. But I need to feed it through the back up through, you know, the top here, so it's routed properly. So I'll go ahead and feed this turquoise plug back up through here so we can connect it to the screen. Just find this opening here on the top. Go like that, and then feed it through this opening in the top middle here. Like that, and there we go. I'll go ahead and take the screen here, plug it into the back. There we go. So I have it plugged into the screen now. Now I can put the screen back in place here. There we go. Put the screen back in place. So the last thing I need to plug into the module here is the antenna. It goes in this spot right there. Twist this to lock it. There we go. So I almost forgot to mention it, but there's another cord here that's labeled mic for microphone. You're going to want to connect this cord into the back of the module here. There's a little socket in the back here, if I can show you guys. You're going to want to connect that cord into this little socket right there that's also labeled mic for microphone. That tiny little socket right there. Right here. You're going to want to connect that cord into there, and then that will allow you to talk to people on the phone through the Carplay so they can hear you. And then also you'll be able to send text messages using like voice commands or whatever. So here it is, I have the microphone cord connected to the module. Alright, so at this point everything is connected. So I went ahead and reconnected the battery so that we can test out the module and make sure, you know, everything works properly, and so I can show you guys what it looks like on the screen here real quick. So like I said, I reconnected the battery, so let's go ahead and turn on the car here. So here's the original NBT iDrive system. So to activate the module to get the CarPlay, we're going to go ahead and make sure that the aux is active, or selected rather. So go ahead and select that. If you don't have aux selected, it's not going to play any audio through the speakers. So if you want to play music, it's not going to play. You're not going to hear anything if you don't have the aux selected. So now that I have the aux selected, the next thing you're going to want to do to activate the module for the CarPlay is hold the menu button up here. You're going to hold it down for 2 seconds. So I'll go ahead and hold it. And there we have it, our first look at the CarPlay, Apple CarPlay. So yeah guys, here is a look at the CarPlay. Go back to the app page here, and you guys see I'm scrolling with the knob here just like on the original iDrive system. You scroll the exact same way, and it highlights whichever app you want to go to, and then when you go to select an app, you just simply press down like how you usually do, and it'll open it just like that. So the buttons that work with the module are, like I said, the knob to scroll through everything, and then if you press down to like select whichever option you want to select, And then also you saw the menu button works, and then also the back button works. So if I press that, press back, goes back to the app screen. And then the other cool thing is that you can also scroll using this here. As you guys can see, you can scroll through everything using the knob on the steering wheel. And then the same thing, if you want to select something, just press this button in. So press it in and it'll open up the app. So this system, this module is pretty cool. Now you may have noticed my CarPlay activated instantly as soon as I switched over from the NBT system to CarPlay. And that's because I've already set everything up when I tested this module to make sure everything works. So when you first do this or plug it in to your head unit, this screen is going to come up first. This is the module like main menu thing. So this is the screen you're going to see first when you're doing this for the very first time, and you're going to have to connect to the module via Bluetooth. And the name of the Bluetooth on your phone is going to be something like this, Lime Set Box. So you're going to want to connect to this, and it's going to ask you to pair and everything. And then once you connect, it'll remember your phone, so it'll instantly connect every time after you turn it on. So I just wanted to point out that you're going to have to do that if you're doing this for the very first time. It's not going to instantly connect like you saw how mine did. You're going to have to connect it with your phone via Bluetooth first. And then once you have it connected, you can then go to CarPlay here, this option, or Android Auto if you have Android Auto. Click on that, and then you'll see this screen here. And all of your information on your phone, all your apps will pop up here. Alright, so now that I've confirmed that everything works with the module, this is what you're going to want to do first before you put everything back together, is to make sure it works. So reconnect your battery and power it up, and just test everything out, make sure the sound and everything, and just make sure everything works before you put everything back together, because if you don't do that and then you end up putting everything back together and you find out it doesn't work, you're going to have to take everything back out and diagnose where the issue is and what went wrong. So just test it before you put everything back together to make it a little bit easier. Now, one thing to note here about mine, or anybody who has like the larger head unit like me with the navigation, is that there is very little space to stuff the box and the wires back in there and fit this back in there also. There's very little space. So you're gonna have to use the extra space that is here and like store the wiring down there, up here, on the side there's some space, over here. So use that extra space around the opening here in the back to stuff the wire so that you can create as much room as possible to fit this back in here. For me, I played around with it for a bit to see what was the best way to fit this in here all the way, because you're gonna have to put this box in here also back there, and there's very little room. But what I did is I found a way to maneuver the box into this little opening on the right here. There's space over here, and you can fit the box there because I've done it before, or I did it earlier, and you can fit the box there, and then you make sure it's just all the way in this space and not sticking out here, because the back of this will push into it and you're not going to be able to sit this all the way back into the space here, and it'll be sticking out so you can't put the screws back in. So just do as best you can in stuffing all the wire out of the way and putting the box back here so that you can put this back in and not have to worry about it sticking out or anything. So you can put the screws in and reinstall everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and stuff all these wires in all the spaces that I just described and put the module back there, and I'll show you guys what it looks like and how I did it when I'm finished with all of that. Okay, so one more thing here before I start stuffing all the wires back in here. This piece right here, there's a little wire harness there. There's a connector right there. The camera can focus on it. So there's a little connection here that goes back here. This is going to get in the way if you want to put the box back behind there. This is going to get in the way, but you can remove it by simply twisting it to the left and then pulling it. You can see it kind of hooks. There's a little piece here that you twist it and then it locks in place. So you're going to want to remove this piece so that you can make room for the box so that you can maneuver it back in this space behind here. Okay, so how I have all the wiring in the module set up right now is what will allow it to fit. So as you can see to the right, I have the module tucked away in this little space back behind here. It does take a bit of wiggling and moving wires out of the way to get it all the way in the space to the right, because there's just a bunch of wires and they all get in the way. So you just have to wiggle it around, and over time you'll be able to maneuver it all the way in like how I have it right now, out of the way of the back of the head unit. And then the big connector, or the connection point, right there on the left in the back. I'm gonna tuck the rest of that away in the space to the left there, back behind there, but I can't do it right now since I want to show you guys, and I have to like hold the module and put my hand back there to like push everything away as I'm maneuvering the module or the head unit back into this little area. But in general, that's where I put everything. Module on the right, big connection point on the left with the rest of the wiring, and then a huge chunk of the wiring I put in the bottom space back down there. I wish I could point to it, but I have to hold the light so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, essentially that's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to just make use of the space around behind the dash here, so that you can put this head unit back in there without it, sticking out. All right, so I was able to tuck most of the wiring away, enough for me to slide the head unit back in. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put all the screws back and basically just reinstall everything. All right, so I have everything reinstalled now, so let's go ahead and turn the car on here, show you guys how this works. So the Apple CarPlay won't immediately turn on. It won't be the first thing on your screen, but after about 10 seconds, it will automatically start activating and finding your phone to connect to the CarPlay. And remember, you need to have the aux selected so that you can get the audio from your phone if you want to play music or answer a phone call. So after about 10-15 seconds, it should automatically start activating CarPlay and looking for your phone to connect to the CarPlay. But if not, you can, again, like I said earlier, hold the menu button down for 2 seconds and it will go over to CarPlay. If your phone isn't connected, it'll go over to the main menu of the module I showed you earlier. It's going to be this. Let's go back here. It's going to be the home screen here. If Apple CarPlay is not connected to your phone, it'll just go to this screen. But you can simply just go to CarPlay and then it'll take you to CarPlay. However, it should automatically connect and take you to this screen after about 10 to 15 seconds, like I said. So yeah, guys, this is pretty awesome in my opinion. I definitely like having, the Apple CarPlay look over the stock iDrive look. For me personally, I love how it has this like main menu setup with your Maps app and then your music and the song that's playing. And then I love how you could connect directly to your Spotify account and then, look through your library and all that stuff. So yeah, this is pretty cool in my opinion. One cool thing about this is that you can send text message through just talking through the microphone that is connected to the module. So let's say I wanted to send a text message.
What do you want to say to 78156?
Hi.
Your message says, hi. Do you want to send it or change it?
So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Not only that, but you can do like phone calls if you want. Here's my wife there. So if I wanted to call her, just simply select her, do that, and then it does the call for you. So pretty cool. She's gonna be wondering why I just called her, but just wanted to show you guys an example there. And then like I said earlier, you can also use the knob on your steering wheel here to scroll through all of the apps. So I think it's pretty awesome how integrated it is into your factory buttons. So like the knob and the steering wheel buttons here, without having to do any sort of coding or extra wiring, anything. This is pretty cool and convenient how simple it is to get this working here. All you have to do is literally just plug the connections in that I showed you during the install and it'll work immediately without having to do anything else. Oh, I actually just got a message there, probably from my wife from when I just called her a couple seconds ago. And also, I think it's pretty awesome how you can just easily go back to the regular iDrive system by holding down the menu button. If for whatever reason you need to come back here, maybe to check your oil and stuff with the vehicle info and all that, check your tire pressure, you can easily just switch back to menus with the push of a button, which I think is very, very convenient. So yeah, guys, I think those are all of the main features associated with this CarPlay system. I guess one last thing here is if you go back to the main menu of the module and the system, there are settings that you can change about the module. So if you want to change like the volume, if you want it to auto link to your phone as soon as it activates. If you wanted to add like a backup camera and your car doesn't have one, you can add one if you wanted to. That's what the other I believe yellow cords were for that I didn't do anything with, because you can add a camera if you want, if you don't have one already. My car already has one, so I didn't need to do anything with that. Another thing also is that whenever you're driving and you need to reverse, it will go back to your regular camera if you already have one from factory. So that's another cool thing. It just does it automatically. If you put the car in reverse, it will automatically go to your camera and then go back to the CarPlay whenever you go back to drive. Also, you can change the language of the CarPlay. If English isn't your first language, you can change it to something else. I believe they have all of the main languages here. So yeah, guys, I think that is pretty much it for all of the main features of this system. I don't know how Android Auto looks. Actually, let's see if anything comes up. Yeah, obviously, I need to connect to an Android. I don't have an Android, so I don't know what that looks like, honestly, but I would assume it would be set up just like how an Android is set up on your phone, with the same apps and has the same sort of look. Alright, so I think that is everything for this install and this overview of this module with the CarPlay system. Again, I think the system is pretty awesome and how user-friendly and how convenient it is. The install was pretty straightforward. It is not that difficult. It shouldn't take that long, maybe like an hour or two. It took me a while because I was filming this video, but if you're not filming and you're just installing it, it should take about an hour to 2 hours, depending. I'd say the hardest part was just trying to find a spot to stuff like all the wires and stuff to fit the head unit back in place. But again, I have the bigger head unit, so it was harder for me, but if yours is smaller, you can just fit it underneath, I believe. So that'll be a lot easier and take a lot less time. Not only that, but the fact that it doesn't require any sort of coding or extra wiring or anything crazy like that. It just simply works as soon as you connect it to the car. That is pretty awesome, and the fact that it's already like integrated with your knob, your dial knob that you use to go through the iDrive system on top of the knob on your steering wheel. Now again, the module I installed in this video is specific to the NBT iDrive system. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the NBT system was featured in most BMW models between like 2013 to like 2018. So if your iDrive system looks like how mine does, then this module will fit. If you have an F30, obviously you can run this module kit. Now for those of you who have the smaller iDrive screen, because I have the bigger one, I know some lower trim or lower spec 3 Series or BMW models came with a smaller screen. You are able to adjust the screen size on the module. I forgot to show you guys earlier, and now I have it already installed, behind the head unit. But there are 5 little switches on the side of the module box that you're going to see. And you just flip those in a certain orientation and it'll adjust the screen size to fit with BMW models who have the smaller screen. The kit will come with an instruction book and it will show you which orientation to put the switches in for the smaller screen. Right out of the box, the orientation will be for the larger screen, the screen I have. So yeah, that's one thing just to take note of if you have the smaller screen. So yeah, if you're interested in getting yourself this kit to get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, it will be available on inline6auto.com, so check down in the description for a link to this. So I think that's going to do it for this video, you guys. Thank you guys for watching. As always, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more content like this if you liked what you saw. Also, feel free to check out the rest of my website, inline6auto.com, for any other aftermarket modifications for your BMW F30. But anyway, I will see you guys in the next video.